Let's talk some toys in here.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Today it's the man child. Okay, so I finally got in my Masters of the Universe Origins Teela and Zoar 2-pack from Big Bad Toy Store. So I think this was a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive. I already posted some pics, and some of you guys in the comments said you also got it coming, but it's in your pile of loot. Mine was too. I just told them to ship it, so I have it and can review it. Looks pretty cool, It's neat to finally have some of the older vintage-inspired birds like Zoar. That was in a vintage line. Now, I also did hear that they have Screech coming out. I think there's actually pics of a Screech and Evelyn 2-pack, which is a no-brainer. I don't know why they didn't. You already got the tooling. Why wouldn't you do that? But it's coming, and yeah, I already seen teases on it. But beside that, it's like it's a cool set, and it's still in stock, and I believe it's $29.99 at Big Bad Toy Store. So if you didn't get it, go over there and pick it up. So taking a closer look at the front of the box, awesome art, like all the Origins has. Just love the way the Zoar's done, painted up. Teal looks great on that. The way they illustrated her, I got the 40th anniversary sticker. We can already see the layout, and then it looks like also, yeah, the kid's got the bird flying. Now it looks like it's the same type of trigger mechanism, actually tooling from the vintage birds. I do have a vintage Screech still, and we're gonna bring it and compare it to this because the vintage Zoar and Screech, obviously, like the cats and the vintage line, were nothing was different. They were just exact tooling. The posts were the same tooling, the armored, but different colors. So it'd be interesting to take a look at that. But yeah, pretty cool layout. And flipping around to the back of the box, man, look at just more cool art. Check that out. We got, yeah, again, our Zoar in tack mode there. There's our Screech in the background, going head on or coming after Zoar. We got Teela fighting Skeletor in the back. I'm surprised we don't see Evelyn. Castle Grayskull sitting back there. Got Cosmos, all different planets. I love the art. Awesome. And let's see, taking a look here now, we got our, okay, push to make, yeah, see, he's got that little button in the back, same as a vintage. The armor looks identical the way it snaps around the body, and then, okay, snap it together, as, they call it a backpack, huh. And moving down, this is our cross-sell with all the newer figures from Wave 10 that are out, and then Leech and Snout Spout are deluxe, and then we got the Roton as well out. And for people like the art, there's really not much else on the sides of the box. Just got a little dragon or something here, and on the other side's just rocks. Sometimes you see little Easter eggs or figures or vehicles that Mattel said might be coming in the line, but I don't see anything. It's all the art. All right, so I got everything out of the box. All right, and here's this quick look around of all the accessories, the bird, teal, or perch, everything you get out of the box. Check all that out. All right, so first up, we'll check out our new Teela now. She looks very identical to the first release Origins Teela we got in Wave 1, and I'll bring her in and compare in a little bit. Except for I see the head does have a different head sculpt, at least for the hair, which is cool. And same thing with the hair piece. She's also very white, the skin compared to the original. Paint's all done just in her outfit. Everything's a lot brighter in this figure. Boots look the same, but as far as the articulate, before we bring the other one and compare it, so the articulation is all the same. For you're familiar with Teela, you're not. All right, so arms, I don't see anything new. Elbows go in like this, hand spin, right? Spin at the waist. Legs go all the way out, split, bend all the way at the knees, right? Spin at the boots. And she has the foot, ankle, could spin like this. Now, mine has a hard time standing, so I use just a McFarlane figure stand. Pegs actually fit the holes in the feet perfect, so that's how I stand her up. I had to do that to my original one, too. We're familiar with the articulation, everything. We already talked about the paint. Now, what's cool with this figure and the newer re-release of figures you're getting, like there is an Evelyn out in the market. I hear there's a She-Ra coming out, but Teela has the new corrected knees, which looks a lot better than the first release where I cut mine. Besides that, everything's the same as far as sculpt, but the head's different with the original. So let's bring her and compare. So bringing in our first release Origins Teela over here. We got our 2-pack Teela here. Yeah, you kind of see the differences. Obviously, her skin is very tan. Hers is extremely bright and white. I think I like the tan color a little better. I don't know, it just makes her stand out than this whitish, very bright. I don't know. And glossy too. Yeah, obviously you can see the outfits are painted different. Everything's very flat in this first release. This one's very bright. I kind of like the flat colors a little bit because it has that like more vintage inspired look. Where that's what the Origins, I've noticed with the Origins, are very bright in color. Sometimes too bright. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. It's, I guess, your taste. But now you can see the difference in the knees, too. Now you can see, yeah, these are much better. I actually cut mine. It had these giant flaps, if you're familiar. I cut them back, try to shave it so you can see the knee. That's okay. I mean, this looks better the way Mattel did it, but you kind of see that, those two side by side. So bringing in the faces and head for a closer look, I mean, you can see it's, the sculpts look very much the same, but this is so bright and shiny. It's at certain angles, it's just, I don't know. It looks like a doll, where this one looks a little more realistic to me with the, yeah, the tan color. Now the hair, and like I said, the headpiece is completely different, the style. That's cool, they gave that to you, right? So you can see she's got the ponytail, she's got the hair up. Even the headdress is different there. Hers is a different redesign. Of course, the paint's different. It's cool they did that, but if you wanted to switch the heads out, it's not going to make sense on the bodies for every reason. Especially this head on that body. Now we have the corrected knees. You know, it's not going to work because of the skin color. So real quick, I switched the heads out. They're the same ball pegs that all the females have. Just kind of give you examples. So, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of strange, I guess, in a way, depending on under the light conditions. The heads could work on either body. I mean, this is still obviously very bright and tan, but yeah, it's weird in my light. But they're not, definitely not meant to be, you know. Articulations are all the same. But it is cool you get a different headdress. I like that. And then the other thing, too, is so the waist pop apart, obviously, you know, the pegs like that. And if you were to switch the parts around, again, it's not going to work because of just the different shades on the skin. And the boots are also, and then the boots too, and the new one is, okay, instead of all brown, it's the same, looks like the same brown. Actually a little reddish, and then it has the white, the fuzzy part up top is white, where this is just all one color. Okay, so I switched everything back. Yeah, I got them standing okay now. I messed around with the legs, so that's good. Now you can see that this is the weapons accessory layout as far as the snake armor, the shield, the staff, and she comes with a sword. I'll bring it in a closer look in a second, but you can see with the snake armored and the two shields are exactly the same color. So let me bring them in and we'll take a closer look at that. And here's a quick look at the two different snake armored. So exactly the same color and everything. It looks like under my light. This is the first release, and this is our new Teela. Right, same material and everything, so you check that out. And these are the shields, same thing. This is the one from the first release in our 2-pack Teela. All right, check that out. And we get our typical snake staff. So, of course, this is the first release Teela's brown. And then with the new one, you get a yellow snake staff, which is pretty cool. It's like a real bright yellow. It's even sort of translucent, too, in the light. Kind of see through it. So you get that. And then with the new Teela, too, you also get a sword, which is cool. This looks like the design goes back to the 2000X. It's all one color, also yellow translucent. Cool to see that, right? So we get that in the pack. And with our new Teela, even with the hair, the armor goes on the same way as the first release. So kind of slip over the head, right? And you get this little piece, and then the button snaps in the back if you're not familiar. And here's a quick look at our new Teela with the snake staff and hand shield and the armored on. Yeah, it definitely looks much better. You know, just something without the snake armor and no accessories. It looks very plain or something, but with all that on, looks much better, I think. Stands out better. Here's a quick look with a sword and a staff in hand instead of a shield. Check that out. Here's a quick look if you want to put the shield in the right hand, the sword in the other. Right, and I got her posed and standing better now. Now I mess around with the ankle joints, so check that out. And here's a quick comparison with the Teelas with both snake armored on each of the bodies, the staff and shields in hand, right? So obviously this is our new one, our first release. Just check that out. Okay, so one of the most important pieces in that set is the bird, or Zoar. Yeah, it looks very identical to the vintage. I'm going to bring it in soon. I have a vintage Screech. As I said, it's the same exact bird, but painted and called Screech. Painted different, called Screech, and's evil. Now the wings, they're really rubbery. They feel softer than the vintage. Okay, bring the head in for closer looks. Check that out. Way to paint. Right, the beaks, got sculpting in the hair. It's the way the legs are done. That was a separate piece that looked like it was glued on later. Here's your trigger back here if you're not familiar with this. So with the wings down, so you would just push this in, that's how it would fly. Works okay. Very similar to the vintage. All right, check it out. So bottom, you just got your regular claws. It's going to snap onto the perch. Right, you kind of see how the little trigger mechanism, you pull the wings up. How simple and basic it is. Tail tube. So it's all just rubber, the whole top. Even the tail tube is flexible rubber, and this is all hard plastic that it just sits and snaps into. And the head too is a hard plastic. And here's your perch. Yeah, it's just painted in a bright orange, metallic orange, very bright. As the bird is also looks a little brighter in the vintage, but I don't have one. I don't remember. Looks like a larger base too than the original, which is cool. a hard plastic too, and it's two-piece. It should come out. Yeah, it pops right out like that. And then a mount that you would just normally snap. Should snap on like so, the feet. And here's Zoar sitting on top of her perch. All right, check that out. It's very stable. So moving on to the armored, what do they call it, backpack on the back of the art. Yeah, very reminiscent again, like the vintage. It was, so this piece would, you unlock this, it's snap. That's how you would wrap it around the head. We'll do that in a second. And this is also a separate piece too, from what I remember. Yeah, so you can, okay, snap, and they'll take that off, but it just locks on there. So also, this is a hard plastic up here, this piece, and everything else. So is this in the back, and this piece is a little, I guess it's the same material, just feels softer or something, but you can see all the details in that. It's got like a rocket or something on here. I guess these were blasters, blast from the bottom. It's also done in the same color as a perch. So putting the armored on, I found it easier to snap over the back of the tail first. Flip this open. All right, move this, the wing back. Position this around the head, and then this little tab here is going to snap and lock it, right? Adjust it, and there's our armored on our Zoar. Looks awesome. Here's a look with our Zoar flying action with the armored on. Check that out. And here's Zoar on the perch, all armored up. Right. Still very stable because this larger base. Check that out. All right, so I removed everything from Zoar for the moment. And here's our vintage Screech. I still got one. Now check this out. I mean, they look, as far as the tooling, the sculpt, identical from what I can see. Which I'm surprised, because the Origins, if you look at the cats and everything they've done, they've completely retooled and resculpted everything, and everything's usually a little bigger and just different. But these are exactly the same from what I can see. So, like if I flip this, I'm going to put the feathers together just to show you size comparison. Right? You kind of see that. Everything's exact. As far as the wing span design. And moving on to the feet. Yeah, the feet, the legs in the back, the sculpting on the feathers, even the trigger mechanism looks very identical. You pull up the back of the wing, kind of see that the little mechanism in there looks very much the same. Yeah, so even the head sculpts look very much the same. I mean, it's just, it looks off because the way the paints around the eyes are different, the beaks, but yeah, they look identical. All right, so it's basically the same tooling they use for this bird, from what I can see. Obviously, they're painted different because it's Zoar and Screech, but the rubber on this type of material used in the 80s is it's more, it's like a lot, it's stiff. You know, it's a lot harder. Where this is a much rubbery plastic, which I noticed with the Origins, like the armor on the figures. The tails feel the same way. Now, I bring that up because some of you in the comments already got their 2-pack. And they said they were a little disappointed with Zoar's wings. So we see everything else is the same with the trigger mechanisms. Let's try to make them fly. I'm going to hold them all the way in the down position, let the wings, you know, the gravity hold them down, and do this. This vintage Screech works a lot better. And I'm not doing, you know, I'm not making a lot of effort. Look at the wings, how much, that looks so much better. With this one, that's the best I can really, sometimes it goes up, but that's the best I can do with it. And it's even hit or miss. It's like if it bounces off the rubber too soon, it doesn't have enough time for the swing to fall and push it up. So look at that. With this one, it's just like, yeah, much better. Okay, so moving on to the armor, the backpacks. This was the vintage for Screech. And this is our Origins now. Again, they look very identical. It's almost the same identical tooling. It seems to me, if you can see that. And this too feels, the material feels a little different. I mean, again, you know, this is now, and this is a harder plastic. It's just what they used at the time in the 80s. The only thing that is different is this back piece. That I can see, so you can see how much wider the vintage one is and how much smaller the Origins is. But it is very similar as far as design. And where this one, I already showed, can pop off. The 80s one could do the same thing. It can even, if you want, I mean, the colors are different, but I wonder... Yeah, it'll fit. You know, obviously it's going to slide back and forth, but kind of see that. So I thought I'd bring the vintage Screech in with the Origins backpack or the armored. I want to see how it fits. I'll do it backwards this time. Put it over the neck first. We'll snap this down over the tail like so. And then we'll just snap this piece together. And here's the Origins armored on the vintage Screech. Works fine. And I also switched Screech's armor on Zoar, right? Check that out. Fits. So the vintage armor fits on the Origins bird, no problem. And also bringing in the perches. This is the Origins perch on this side, and this is Screech's or vintage perch. Now you can see they're exactly the same. Obviously, the colors are different, but this has a smaller base where they redesigned this base. It's bigger and it works better because you can see, obviously, it would fall. I actually had to, yeah, get this big figure stand, put some silicone, or maybe I glued it, and that helped hold it up. So I'm glad they redesigned the perch. And I put Screech, or the vintage bird, on the Origins perch, so it works perfect. And we have Zoar on Screech's perch. Let me check that out. All right, and I put both birds back in the right perches, and it's kind of a side-by-side comparison. Let me check that out. We have the armored on and everything, they're ready to go. And let's see what the how you fly with the armored. That. So overall, it's a really cool set. You know, it's cool seeing that 2-pack with all the art. You got Teela and Zoar all laid out in a big box window. But as far as Teela, all you're really getting is another Teela from Wave 1 with the corrected knees. You are getting a different head, redesigned with the hair anyway, which is cool. You get the snake staff and yellow now and a sword, because a lot of people like that, so I'm glad they included that in the set. I wish they would have kept the skin tone a little darker, or more closer to the Origins first release, just in case you wanted to switch parts out or the heads for whatever reason, but it's not the worst thing. And now you put the snake armor on. She's, yeah, it's still Teela, but yet different. The Zoar is basically just a vintage bird from what I can see. So they're using a little bit different. The rubbers are different now. And because of that, it makes the wings a little... They don't work as well on my bird like they did in the Screech anyway. You know, they don't flap as much, as high, but they work. The perch is the same, aside the base is bigger, which is cool because now it stands with no problem. But you can always put the old vintage base on something like I did and glue it. And so is a backpacker armor. It's exactly the same aside that back piece, and I can see what I redesigned it. It actually clips better in this bird than the vintage one did, but that's all you're really getting. So it's kind of like if you already have a first release Teela from the Origins, and you didn't mind the knees, you didn't care about the sword, and you had a vintage Zoar or Screech, you know, is it really worth getting that set for $30? I don't know. That's kind of up to you. But if you don't, and you just want that set, or you don't have these vintage birds, and you know you want, now that the Origins are kind of remaster and re-release them, and you want another Teela one with correct knees, yeah, go for it. It's pretty cool, even if it's $30. So hopefully it answered all your questions. I hope you guys are doing great. And until next time, take care.